Hello and welcome to video number 2 of my dog's age in human years. In video 1 we simply set up our website, we learned a bit about HTML, and now in video 2 we're going to get to coding the simple version of what the age would be. Remember, the simple version is going to rely on the premise that the dog is roughly its age times 7 to find the human years equivalent. We already know that that's not altogether accurate, but we're going to do that at the start, and then we're going to try to make our program better after that. So as you remember from video 1, we've got the index tab, which handles the stuff that's on the website, and we've got the main.js tab that handles the code itself. So go ahead and click on the main.js, and that's going to be the focus of video number 2. We can see this console.log. This is my program. That's just there to kind of test things out. We're actually going to go ahead and clear that now. And we're also going to just get rid of this line altogether because it's not very useful to us for what we're trying to do. So on line number 1, we're going to make a couple of variables. We're going to make a variable called the age in human years, and we're going to make a variable called the age of dog. And the age of dog will just be like exactly what it sounds like. How long has the dog been on the planet? And the age in human years will be the equivalent number of years. So let's go ahead and do that. It's always good to initialize your variables at the start. So we're using the word var, as you should have learned already. Age in human years, I'm going to make as the first variable. And for now, I'm just going to set that equal to 0. Okay, that's just initializing a variable, giving it a value, and we're going to move on to make the next one. On line number 2, var variable age of dog. Now this one we're not going to set to 0. We're actually going to prompt the user for what the age of the dog is. So age of dog is equals prompt, P-R-O-M-P-T, and now we need a space, an open bracket, quotations, how old is your dog? Question mark. So this is going to prompt the user on line number 2 to give us the age of their dog. Now once they give the age of their dog, it's going to get stored in the container in the variable age of dog. And we're going to be able to use that to find the age in human years. So put your cursor at the end of line number 2 and press enter. And you know what? It's good as we go to just go ahead and comment things as you go. So I'm actually going to go to line 1 and press enter. That's so I can create a space above it. I'm going to do a double / which allows me to comment. And what you're doing with a comment again is describing what the next line of code does. So I'm trying to describe what the age in human years does. So I'm going to say, this will be my dog's age converted to human years, just to remind myself what that variable is actually doing. Now I'm going to go to the end of line 2. I'm going to press enter and do a double / and I'm going to describe what's happening on the next line. The age of dog. This will ask the user for the age of the dog. And that might be obvious to you what those things do, but it's good practice to comment your code. Most sophisticated programs would not be coded by one person, so it's really important that other people can see your comments, and you get marks for those too. So those are easy marks, just make sure you put them in. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to comment it first even. This equation will convert the age of the dog into human years. All right, so again, just the double / to do that. And now I'm ready to write an equation that's going to actually do that. So I'm going to use my variable that I made, age in human years. You can see it starts to come up and it tells you that it's a number variable. We're just going to click on it. Age in human years is now equal to the age of dog, and we can see it down here, So that's taking this variable, whatever the person put in, and we're going to multiply it by 7. We learned in our Google Sheets assignment that multiplying is the asterisk, shift 8. So multiply by 7, and then we need our semicolon because this is a command. And we have a new equation here. We don't know if it's working yet or not. We have to kind of see what that would look like. So I'm going to make it appear in the console, and I'm also going to make it appear on the website. That's going to be my goal here. So let's do the console part first. So actually finding out what the output would be down here. So maybe just write a comment here that says something like, this will output the dog's human years to the console. And this is what the code would look like to do that. So you do a console.log. We saw that at the start, the default thing that was in there. Open bracket. We're going to set up a string, which means to use quotations. A string is just like a piece of text. It's not a variable or anything else. It's just something you want to say. I'm going to put the dog is biologically similar to a. Okay, then you go after your quotations. I'm going to insert the number that it actually, I'm going to insert this number over here by adding that variable to this. So go outside of the quotations, put a space, put a plus. I'm going to bring up my age in human years. Press enter. Make a space. Do another plus. Do more quotations. Make a space there. Year old human. So again, if I read this through, it's going to be the dog is biologically similar to a whatever year old human. And that's pulling it from our calculation that we did above. Again, we're going to need a semicolon, as JavaScript usually likes at the end of that one. And maybe we will just test what we have so far. So we're going to go ahead and press the play button. And we can see that there's now a pop-up box. This pop-up box is coming from this prompt that we wrote on line 4. And it says, how old is your dog? Let's go ahead, and I think we knew what number 5 was, so let's do that, 5. And if we look down below, under the console, it says the dog is biologically similar to a 35-year-old human. So there we go. It seems to be working 5 times 7, and it came up with the right answer. And now you've officially kind of written your first application ever without using a leveling system or anything like that, with actually just using pure code. Let's make it also appear on our website, and then we'll end video number 2, and I'll talk to you about how we can make it more advanced after that. So let's go ahead to line number 9, and instead of just logging to the console, let's actually push something out to our website that's going to give the right answer there. We're going to use a command called document.write, and we're going to open our brackets. We're going to use our quotations for our string. Your dog is, go outside the quotations, plus space, age in human years, the variable that did the that came from our mathematical formula, space, plus year, quotations, years old. And you could have put the exact same text that you put up here too. Totally up to you. You don't have to make this sound exactly like this. Let's comment that. So this will output, the dog's age to our website. Okay. And let's not forget our semicolon. On line 10, you can see this whole program is basically 10 lines of code with the comments and everything. So not a very sophisticated program that we've written so far, but let's go ahead and test it out. How old is your dog? Let's do the same thing. Let's do 5 years. Okay, now we can see that it's now being pushed out here, that your dog is 35 years old, like that. Okay. We might want to adjust a couple things here when we look at this for the first time. The first thing is this is all jumbled together, as you can see. So let's try to make some spacing. If we go to our string and we space out before the quotations, space out before the quotations, okay? And we run this again. Let's try a different number this time. Let's say your dog is 10 years old. We're getting that it's equivalent to 70, and that's obviously an easy thing to test. It makes sense that it would be 70 if you take 10 times 7. Okay? So this is looking better, although it probably makes more sense as well for this output to show up underneath what we already have. So let's just make that final adjustment, and then we'll be happy with what we have for the basics of the program. Let's go back to the index.html, and you can see we're getting this pop-up box every time now. I'm just going to make it happy by telling how old the dog is. Also, we haven't saved in a while, so go ahead and press the save button. Make sure it turns green. You've done a lot of good code now. You don't want to lose that. Now, if we look at where the script is actually in our HTML code, it's right at the start. So right at the start, before it even puts the title, before it puts the picture of the dog, right now it's running this, which is running all of those things that we just did. The calculations, the output, and so on. It would be better, oh, there we go again with that. It would be better if it ran that after the picture was there, so that I'd have the picture and then I would have the output underneath. So let's take this line on line number 5 of your HTML, and let's cut that, Control X, and let's go ahead and put that underneath on line 10. We're going to put it after the other stuff happens, Control V. Now if I go ahead and run the same thing, and I say the dog is 10 years old, okay, progress. It's now closer to where I want it to be. It still doesn't look very good by being down there. So let's just make a line break before it tells us how old the dog is. So I'm going to go to line number 9 at the end of the image source. I'm going to press enter to get more space. And I'm going to put in these BR tags. These are called line breaks. That's what the BR stands for, the break. And you can see I put in 2 line breaks before it runs the script. And now we're going to take a look at what that looks like. There we go. Beautiful. Your dog is 70 years old. And we could maybe put in human years to make it more specific. But that is the basics of how this program works. So congratulations on writing your first program ever. Hope that was fun for you. I enjoy coding. I hope you do too. In future videos, what we're going to try to do is make this a little bit fancier. In the next video, we're going to create a button that you can press to make that happen instead of just having a prompt that happens. And then we're going to also take a look at, going back to our original chart, can we make it more realistic to what this is saying? Because right now our program doesn't give us these exact numbers. It gives us close, but it doesn't give us exact. So in the final video, we're going to make this program a lot more advanced, and we're going to make it a lot more accurate. All right, thanks for watching and listening to video number 2 of My Dog's Age in Human Years. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.